Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Introducing your hosts, Kids at Heart.
Hello, and Happy New Year. My name is the People's Chris Anthony Lopez. Joining me on my left is Slam Master and Nick Mulbach, and we are the Kids at Heart. Nick, man, Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year to you, my friend. Thanks for this, by the way.
No doubt about it.
I'm currently styling, whiling, and profiling in this John Cena necklace from Mr. Chris Anthony Lopez himself. But I hope that you had a good New Year's. I if you could see by our thumbnail, I'll just leave it at that. We met Sin Cara. But anyways, so just excited to be back. You know, we got a brand new year, thank God. Finally, after the heck of a one that we've got, we got moments of reflection, but we are not alone today.
No, we are not. Joining us today is, at least for those who don't know, I also co-host a movie trivia Schmodown after show every Wednesday. For now, every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. But through that, we got to meet some other fun people from some other Schmodown after shows. And joining us today from Schmoes of the North, it's our boy Soda. Oh, am I gonna bring him in?
No.
Soda.
Yeah. How's it going, guys?
Soda, what is going on, my man?
Shit out of that thing so many times in the last 30 years. I'm surprised it's still functioning.
Yeah, I hear bringing out the Macho King Wrestle Buddy. Hell
and
yeah,
I'm repping an old school style Macho Man shirt, the Mega Powers, baby.
we love Macho Man over here at Wrestle Reel. So, I mean, Soda, what's going on, homie? You good?
Yeah,
Happy
I'm
New Year,
good,
bro.
man. Just trying my best to survive the new year. It's like already been a shitstorm as we started. I'm so happy to finally be able to talk wrestling because there's not that many people in my life who actually give a shit about this as much as I do. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, here you go, brother. And usually before we get into our 3 count, we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. Whether it's reflection of 2020, looking ahead of 2021, maybe some things in between. But have y'all watched any wrestling lately? I'm curious.
Okay, so I watched the AEW tribute last week to Brody Lee.
Oh,
and I watched WrestleMania 5, and I started 9 today.
Ooh, okay. So let's slowly. I spoiler alert. We'll talk about Brody Lee a lot at the end of the show. But it was a great tribute show, by the way, from AEW. Like probably one of the better wrestler tributes I've seen in a while. If not, I've never seen.
Agreed.
A whole 2 hours to our boy. But out of the 2 WrestleManias, WrestleMania 5 and 9, you said that you're watching. Which one do you prefer? Do you have a preference of the 2?
Yeah, well, WrestleMania 9 is more a nostalgic pick because as a kid growing up, that was the VHS tape I rented the most. So that's just more, like I said earlier, it's from that era where it's like a warm blanket for me. I can easily slip in and find comfort. But WrestleMania 5 is easily my favorite WrestleMania. Now, 17 is the best one from top to bottom, but 5 is my favorite because it has all the stars I grew up watching. I mean, you've got arguably one of the biggest main events of all time, Hogan, Macho Man for the title. You've got Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude for the first time on pay-per-view. You've got Arn and Tully in a WWE pay-per-view. I think it's one of their first. You've got Demolition as newly crowned faces. You have the Rockers early in their career. You've got just a whole bunch of great stuff. You get to see Bobby the Brain Heenan wrestle, even if it's only for like 3 minutes. It's just a lot of great stuff, and it's a lot of nostalgia from stuff that grew up watching. I was born in 1987, the year before this, but this is like stuff I grew up watching. Like I had the old school LJN rubber figures, like as you can see by my wrestling thing. Like this is wrestling for me. So I like to go back every once in a while and rewatch it.
1000%, brother. And dude, those early WrestleManias, those are the ones Nick, one of these days we're gonna have to do a commentary for one of those WrestleManias, like the older ones, because honestly, it's been a hot second, and I don't think I can say I've seen one of those shows through. Obviously, I've seen the matches, but from start to finish,
No,
I don't think I've seen.
I think we have to bring Soda back on for that.
I've watched every single WrestleMania from start to finish. I own 18 on DVD, and I do have a few of the other ones on DVD as well. Like I said, wrestling has been my life for a really, really long time.
And here you are, brother. And again,
that's what we love to see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the show, coming on the pod, on some Wrestle Reel. And before we start talking about our counts, unless Nick, you had some wrestling that you've seen, because out of the two of us, admittedly, you watch more wrestling than I do.
I mean, sometimes, yeah. I've gotten back onto my American Dad kick, so watching through that for the first time. But no, I will give a shout out to one of Chris and I's at least favorite Instagram accounts right now, Wrestling Flashback. Basically, what they do is people go and they suggest clips that they want to see on Instagram.
They're just commenting. They've commented.
And it's like sometimes it's like people are like begging and begging and begging for them to post things, and that's nothing on them. It's just kind of odd to me because I'm like, YouTube exists. But for me, as like a person who's not going out of my way to see Santino Marella say honky tonka man, it is fantastic to see a lot of nostalgic random wrestling moments pop up on this Instagram page. So I guess like overall, that has been where I've been focusing on watching wrestling and such. But yeah, no, I'm just excited to be back here talking wrestling. Without further ado, I believe that we need to get into our first count of the day.
Can I just ask you one question? Because you know my origins in wrestling. What are your guys' origins in wrestling? It appears I'm a good decade older than you guys.
Okay. I mean, and Nick and I have we talked about this in the show, Nick? At least in depth?
Maybe not.
I don't think we talked about it in depth, but I've said on the show multiple times, I cite WrestleMania 25 as my introduction to wrestling. I was late to the party, though. I started watching wrestling because WrestleMania 25, what was that, 2008?
2005.
No,
it's 20. So 2009.
2009. Okay, yeah, so 2009, I was 12 when the WrestleMania 25 was a thing.
Okay.
And my cousin let me borrow the discs, the DVDs, and I watched them. And I'm like, yo, this is incredible. And that's why I got to see Taker, Michaels, and Nick already knows my love for anything Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Mm-hmm. So that WrestleMania 25, I started watching the weekly shows, primarily Smackdown, as my man's repping over here. I watched Smackdown every week, and then Raw, and then I watched Impact when Bischoff and Hogan were being bad, and all that stuff. But WrestleMania 25, I cite as my introduction, and then I went back and forward, and now I'm here as a supermark.
What about you?
So mine was my cousin introduced me to it. I think that it was around the time of Undertaker Randy Orton feuding because he got the steel cage wrestling figures. My first wrestling figure, I say on this show all the time, and it's downstairs, missing from Raw Legends Night, by the way, everybody, was freaking Carlito.
We'll get into that later.
He did his little video thing. I know that. But bring back, that's one of my resolutions. Bring back Carlito. It's not, but I just want to say that. So I had Carlito, Randy Orton, and Undertaker because he had. Randy Orton? It was not that Randy Orton. I did not have any of the t-shirt. No, I had the Triple H of that, actually.
I went home and got these just so I can show them on Wrestle Reel, by the way.
That is awesome. I actually just did an animation.
I didn't think about it because I've got no joke. I've got the book that actually introduced me to wrestling still. Yeah.
How about that? That might have to be a little post-show thing because I don't want to see that. But Nick, you were saying?
It's upstairs in the basement. I will say that you said you had all those figures. I've got my dad's, and I've got like the old Andre the Giant rubber figure that does not move at all. I got like an entire bin full of those and mine. But my first ones were like Carlito and watching AJ Styles in Impact Wrestling was, or TNA at the time, was one of my first introductions to wrestling.
Just him and Joe, man, at that time.
Was all I could watch at the time because my parents didn't really like me staying up too late when I was younger. And I couldn't always sneak it because you could see that little flashing light from the TV. So Spike was always playing Impact during the day because what else was Spike going to play, I guess? So I just watched that all the time. That's why AJ Styles is by far my favorite wrestler of all time. When he came to the WWE, I popped about as much as Chris Anthony Lopez does about putting a hot pocket in the microwave. So I just sorry.
Oh, dude, and that's
Chris
I'm-
pops a lot.
I do, admittedly. And one thing, so that you'll get this. So on Spin from the Real, right, we had the Barbarian on like a month and a half ago, and I was saying that a lot with him on the show, and he's like, he's a wrestling guy, like he totally understood what I was saying, but he's like, Chris, you have to stop saying that because these people aren't gonna get it, and it's gonna sound weird. I'm like, damn. So like How I Met Your Mother and like the glass breaks when you that was me, but with the Barbarian. It was such a surreal moment. And now I say it all the time. All the time. Even in my daily life, I'm like, damn, like I'm out here trying to pop the boys,
Yeah.
But
yeah. I've stolen Lance Storm's thing on Twitter where every time somebody says something that makes me laugh, I stole his tweet, huge pop.
Yeah. Huge pop, right.
Yeah.
But no, let's get into our three counts. We have a lot to talk about on this show. So let's go ahead and start with numero uno. So the first thing we want to talk about on the show is 2020, because although 2020 was a mess, it was the worst, there was a lot of good to take away from it. So we thought it'd be fun to at least do like a little top 5 ski of our favorite things or 5 things that we noticed throughout 2020 that, that we liked or that made us pop in some cases. So we told Soda. Soda also brought us 5, and Nick and I, we have our production meetings on the show, so of course we're gonna go ahead and talk about that.
But that's what we do it,
Exactly. But if y'all don't mind, I would actually love to start. So my number 5, Nick already knows my number 5, so he's not gonna be surprised. But we tried to do we did a top 5 of wrestling. So wrestling could be anything. It could be the in-ring stuff, it could be the backstage segments, it could be anything. But I chose to go away from the ring entirely. This has nothing to do with actual wrestling. It's more so who's doing it. My number 5 is Sasha Banks popping up in Mandalorian.
Very nice.
Talk about pop. Talk about a huge pop. Seeing Sasha Banks as Costco Reeves in The Mandalorian and the Heiress in season 2 of Mandalorian. I couldn't shut up. I could not shut up. Like, out of all the great things we saw in the Heiress, and all my Star Wars fans get that, and y'all know what I'm talking about. But seeing Sasha Banks in The Mandalorian, it was like, I know The Rock's an actor, John Cena's in a lot of stuff now, but just something about seeing Sasha in Star Wars got a huge pop out of your boy. I remember watching it in my room. And obviously Sasha was in the trailer for season 2, so we all knew she was coming, and we had no idea who she was going to play.
Thank God it was not what's her face from Rebels.
Oh, Sabine. Yeah, and they didn't give her an already established character. They created their own for Sasha, and Jon Favreau's out here Sasha's she's the best, she's the boss. I'm like, yes. It's so dope seeing my favorite things cross over. And for some reason, Sasha Banks being a Mandalorian still makes me pop weeks, months later. So that's my number 5. Costco Reeves, aka Sasha Banks, the boss in The Mandalorian.
Very nice.
The boss DeLorean, as some might say. But Nick, would you like to go next?
So all of mine are going to be individuals except for my number 1, which I'll wait until the end to say. But obviously, what the hell am I talking about? My number 5 is Drew McIntyre. Because this man has had one hell of a year. I had to quote Chris Anthony Lopez again. This man has had one hell of a year. He won the Royal Rumble. He's just incredible. He was a 2-time WWE champion. He made Sheamus relevant again. And I love Sheamus. It's just like, it's the little things. Wins the Royal Rumble, wins the actual main. He is the first wrestler that I've seen in 100 years actually main event WrestleMania when they won the Royal Rumble. It's incredible.
Been a while, yeah.
It's been a minute.
And
I really don't.
It's like, the guy changed his life around, changed his career around. And I love Drew McIntyre. So that's why he's my number 5.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see McMahon's prediction from all those years ago finally happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I don't understand, though, is why they took the title off of him in the first place. Like, what was the goal with giving Randy Orton the title for a couple weeks? I really don't know. Now, as Bruce Pritchard says, we're not there. We don't know what's going on. We're just reacting on what we see. And for me, that made no sense, especially if you're going to have him win it right again in main event Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm. Nick and I, we pointed towards SummerSlam. If you're going to give Randy the title, if they were so set on giving Orton the title again, why not give it to him when he was still white hot over the summer at SummerSlam, and then have him drop it at Hell in a Cell or whatever the hell Raw? Why wait so long? Why wait till October? Orton already fizzled out at that point. Yeah, at least all the white, like, he was white hot. And I've said in this show, Randy Orton's one of the best things to come out of WWE this year.
Oh, for sure.
But, like, what the hell? But Drew McIntyre, he's the face of Raw right now.
Yeah, well deserved. With this,
well deserved.
The way he's been able to hold his own in a very uncertain time in essentially the world just shows just how good and talented he really is.
1,000%
relevant and as good and deliver consistently as he had this past year. Kudos to him.
Yeah,
got it. And he hasn't fallen victim to the since McMahon likes you, we're gonna write all your promos and the suffering succotash bullshit. Like he's still stuck out. Even there hasn't been a lull. No, with the exception of dropping the belt briefly to Orton, there hasn't been a lull in Drew McIntyre's year.
No,
what hell of a 2020 for Drew McIntyre.
Okay, oh best pay-per-view match by Drew McIntyre this year. I'm going to say it's Roman versus Drew.
Yes. That's the yes. That one, Jesus. No, I wouldn't even say that. No, it has to be Roman. I think Roman McIntyre, Nick, when we talked about the best matches of 2020, we might have said that one was damn close. If I remember correctly.
I think so.
Because we were both hype on that match, and we watched that match on Wrestle Real Talk, our little crossover with our movie talk show. So it was a lot of fun to do, and that match just fucking rules. That's my one.
I watched that.
Soda, what's your 5?
Okay, so originally it was something that we're actually going to be talking about later. So when you said that we were going to talk about it later, I changed it out for my honorable mention, and that number 5 was, and this is the only non-WWE thing on the list.
Okay.
And this is the singular moment, not necessarily what happened after the fact, but it's Tessa Blanchard winning the Impact World Championship.
Okay. Oh, nice.
I had to double check that happened in January, so that counts.
Yeah.
A female, especially a female of this pedigree, the daughter of Tully Blanchard, the stepdaughter of Magnum TA, somebody who learned at the fucking heels of the Four Horsemen, being the first woman in a major organization to win a title. That is something that, despite what people may think of her, all the shit she's pulled, you can never take away from her. That is an amazing accomplishment for her. Kudos. And that is something that'll go down in the annals of pro wrestling history, no matter what.
Yeah. I forgot that happened this year.
I
honestly thought that was last year.
That was January. I did double check.
Oh my God. Because that was a big deal. When Tessa Blanchard won the world title, not just the knockouts belt, she won the world title. It was, because that one, when will that happen in WWE? Never?
I mean, look how long it took them to put, for the first time, a fully 100% African-American champion.
Right.
Hell.
I mean,
The Rock was half.
Yeah, I don't count The Rock. I really, when they talk black champs, I don't count The Rock.
Yeah, Booker T. His dad's black. Come on.
I'm talking when I think of black, I'm thinking of Booker T. Ron Simmons.
Well, yeah, you could make the argument for Booker T, but he never won the title. He only won the World Heavyweight title. He never won the title.
Yeah.
So for them to wait, 35, as long as they did, to finally put the title on a person of African American descent, just dumb. So yeah, it's gonna be a long time before you even think about doing it with a female.
So the fact that Impact they nutted up, to put it lightly, and they put the belt on Tessa Blanchard. And like you said, the singular moment was insane. What followed, Jesus Christ, what a fall from grace. But that moment, like what you said, Soda, will go down in wrestling history.
Yeah. Now, truthfully, the only way I could see them WWE expediting a decision like this would be if they decided for some reason to put the belt on Charlotte. I hope to God no.
Yeah, that's what I would worry.
Intergender wrestling I need to see that first, like a proper intergender match,
which they will never do,
which they won't do, not anytime soon. Now, well, Vince is around. H might do it. I won't be surprised if NXT does it first.
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised either. And I mean, honestly, if you're thinking about it, the decision on Impact's part, that's got Don Callis written all over it.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah. I'm so glad he's back in the wrestling picture.
And before we go to my number 4, I want to ask the two of you, who picks up Tessa Blanchard?
WWE.
You think? Yeah, they're probably the more likely candidate.
Pair her up with Charlotte.
Oh, God. Oh, my.
Those matches would be insane.
Yeah, that's my WWE has got to be the answer. I don't think it's going to happen right away, though. Just because it's only been a year, there still has been that stigma about what happened when she dropped the title and stuff. I'd say give it another year at least, but it will happen, and that is a WrestleMania main event.
Oh, yeah.
Of 2 of the founding members of the 4 Horsemen. Come on.
And I know Tully's all tied up in AEW, but we'll talk about the synergy of wrestling companies more later. But I do think that, oh God, and I've told Nick before that I think we might get a true WrestleMania pay-per-view main evented by 2 women this year. We could, and if it was up to me, we would be.
Should have happened 2 years ago properly.
Should have.
Ronda.
But Charlotte. So yeah, but that Tessa Blanchard moment, like, damn, I did forget that was this year. Yeah, that probably would have made my 5.
That just shows how long 2020 was, doesn't it?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, all that Tessa Blanchard stuff. She ruined her career in a matter of months and a few words in Japan.
That's why I think it'll be a little while before she appears on WWE. But you said totally would be cool. There is something unfortunate that'll prevent that happening, and that is Vince McMahon. Tully appeared on Arn Anderson's podcast a couple weeks ago, and he said that when the Horsemen got inducted, Vince McMahon said to some people, and apparently he was specifically looking at Tully when he said this, it's like, some of you, this is going to be the last time you're here. So don't get too hyped. It would be awesome, but don't get too hyped on Tully coming back.
God. And Vince. All right.
Vince McMahon, yeah. I mean, apparently there was some shit that went down in 89, but who knows? We weren't there.
Yeah, and Vince is the king of holding grudges.
Yeah.
But my number 4.
He brought back the Warrior.
He did. He brought in Brett came back. Warrior came back. I think Punk's a matter of time. But that's a whole discussion for a different day.
Goldberg. Yeah. Anyways.
Goldberg. Yeah. My number 4, switching from WWE to AEW, but I'm specifically saying AEW Revolution. And my biggest, I mean, I can't lie. Partially majority of why I put this pay-per-view on my list for the whole damn year was because I was there. It was the last wrestling thing I went to before the pandemic really kicked in, brother. And I saw 2 of I probably saw the best tag team match of all time at that pay-per-view between Hangman and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks for the tag belts. That match went on for way too damn long, and they were kicking out of everything. But boy, I flipped at least twice, like just popping so damn hard. And I was in the mezzanine, so I could have flipped to the damn. Like, it was that show was, there was one match that sticks out to me that wasn't the best. It was Nyla Rose and Chris Statlander, but that was because they didn't give the match time. I stand by that. Putting the belt on Mox in Chicago was insane, to the point where he kept it for the entire year until they had to drop it to a hot ass Kenny Omega, which I totally understood. Yeah. So, and then, I mean, now what they're doing with Kenny, just a byproduct of that. But to me, AEW Revolution, if it wasn't their best show, I can't tell you what their best pay-per-view is if it's not Evolution, because I'm not going to count All In because All In wasn't AEW yet. but maybe like the first
You at
All
all?
Out. I was at All In, yes.
I'm fucking jealous, man. That is one of only 2 AEW pay-per-views I ordered because I'm not willing to spend $50 anymore on the show.
Oh, the network's definitely ruined buying pay-per-views, but yeah, I was lucky enough to be at All In, and it was my God. But Revolution, I will always hold that close to my heart, not only because it's my first time seeing Chris Jericho in person, because like and the Judas and the choir, all of us singing, like it's a personal pick for me.
Of course,
but that
that's
tag match
isn't it?
Yeah, like it's the tag match and Mox winning the belt because Nick and I were huge Mox stands over here. We're huge Mox marks.
Oh yeah, respect to John Moxley for sure.
So number 4.
Seeing him in short shorts, but that's a little thing.
Yeah, the box, like not the boxing, but like I'm not a big fan. Like the New Japan stuff he wore when he went over there for a little bit. Like stick with the cargo pants, brother.
So there is one thing that you had said in your thing. It was like how the Young Bucks and them were constantly kicking out. When it comes to that, that's where I fall on the Jim Cornette side of things. Like I respect him. I love listening to him with stories, but I am more into the storytelling. And if you're constantly kicking out of everybody's finishing moves multiple times in a match, it diminishes the impact of the move. It's no longer a finisher at this point. Like how many times people kicked out of the FU or the attitude adjustment? At this point, it's a meaningless move.
It is.
Yeah.
I think we all can agree that it is already.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, they are talented as fuck. I do love the Young Bucks. I just don't like the constant kicking out and lack of selling.
Totally, and I think that's where the story took over for me because they like the Bucks are like they're playing the heels of the match, and my God, it was watching the Elite kill each other for 40 minutes, and I couldn't. It's one of the best matches I've seen IRL. So AEW Revolution's my 4.
Yeah, you definitely got me beat on the in real life stuff because I live a good 18-hour drive away from Vancouver, which is the closest large city near me. So,
jeez, dude.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, hit me with that 4, brother.
My number 4 is Bayley and Sasha Banks, but primarily Bayley because I love Bayley.
Mm-hmm.
I am such a Bayley mark. When Bayley turned heel, it was the greatest moment of her career because she is a better heel than Charlotte is. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, it's insane. Cut that hair. Just come up with the most annoying catchphrase in the entire world. She is great. I love Bayley. Bayley is my number 4. I thought that her and Sasha carried SmackDown.
Oh, yeah. They carried the WWE.
And like, you know, the horsewomen are going to carry the women's division for forever. I think that Bayley is going to, at some point this year, become champion again, just because she's so good as champion, just in some way. I mean, even if she's, you know, Bayley could make the freaking tag team championships look good.
She did too.
Like, she did, yeah. It's just like Bayley all year, but Sasha Banks as well. She had a killer 2020.
Her heel turn was definitely the shot she needed in the arm to rejuvenate her career. Because when she came up to the main roster, she fucking dead on arrival, pretty much.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God.
So now here's a question for you: which do you prefer, Sasha Bayley at Takeover or Sasha Bayley at Hell in a Cell? Because I'm actually going to veer towards Hell in a Cell myself.
Wait, Takeover Brooklyn?
First one, yes.
Oh, Takeover.
You think? I don't know, man. There's something about that Hell in a Cell that just...
It hit different. It hit different.
Yeah.
But I think if they would have went on... they should have went on last.
Yeah.
But I'm just... I will pick Brooklyn because that's where I fell in love with Sasha Banks and Bayley. But like you said, with Bayley, she was just squandering on the main roster. And it killed like all her momentum from NXT.
Yeah.
And she was the ugly duckling of the 4 horsewomen. Like Sasha was killing it. Becky, especially when she was the man, was killing it. Yeah. Charlotte, she's Charlotte. But Bayley was always just there to me. And when Sasha moved on before Bayley did, like Bayley was out there rocking and until she was brutally decapitated by Shayna Baszler. I believe it was Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
But so, oh God, was it the first episode on Fox when Bayley turned heel? She cut the things off. She cut the things and like those arm guys. She like cut them or she hit them with some shit.
Yeah, I
Is that
think
the
so.
first episode of SmackDown on
No,
Fox?
it has to be before that because I'm having recollections of Bailey being a heel in front of an audience.
Well, yeah, it was last October. Because they
When did
what's
the
it
Fox
called?
deal happen?
The Fox SmackDown deal. I believe the first SmackDown was in October of 2019. I believe, because I remember, because that was the same show where Lesnar beat Kofi in like 2 seconds.
Yes,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it happened on 2 days before my birthday, the September 22nd episode of Raw 2019, where she turned heel for the first time by helping Sasha beat Becky.
There you go.
Yeah.
So shit, it was in September.
Yeah.
So it's been a hot second, and to your point, Nick, like Bailey's been on a tear. It was what she needed. And I know people, and I guarantee all of us are like, just turn her heel. She'll do so much better. And they didn't, and they didn't, and they didn't. Mm-hmm. And my God, when they did pull the trigger on it, she eclipsed Sasha for a bit. Which to me that's hard for me to admit. I'm a big Sasha Banks fan. If you couldn't tell by my 5, but Bailey, she was damn. Bailey and Sasha killed it this year. They really did kill it. I do still think Asuka, talk about carrying a program. Asuka fucking carried Raw for a while when the pandemic first hit.
And admirably after Becky left. Admirably.
Oh my, yeah, because I mean she had to, and she did a great job at it. But Sasha and Bailey, especially with them tag belts, the golden role models were the shit.
They were pretty good.
Were the shit. All right, so give me your 4.
Okay, so this one is I'm calling it finally getting to know Mark Calloway. So finally, because I've been watching Undertaker since I was, as I say, knee-high to a grasshopper, and all those years you knew nothing about him. Like, this is a guy who took kayfabe to the max, never broke character. You saw a glimpse of it, actually, back when they released the Triple H documentary, that Kingdom Come, a couple years ago. That was the first time you really saw Mark Calloway. But to finally see, now that he's at a point in his career, he's finally happy and he's retired, finally able to pull back the curtain. And it was kind of nice to see his insight into his career. Because, I mean, the dude's been around for a long time. He's seen some shit. So it was just nice to see him sit down and talk about the last few years and then talk about the Attitude Era and to see him talk with Stone Cold in the 2 episodes of Broken Skull Sections. It's finally nice to see the man behind the myth.
Mm-hmm.
The Last Ride's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen.
Hands down.
I was clamoring, right? So I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but I was waiting for Taker to retire so I could hear all this shit.
I think we all were waiting for Taker to retire because, I mean, most of his last few years hasn't been good, to be honest.
No.
Nick, no. But
I think about that match with one of the worst people to coming back into wrestling, Goldberg, at Saudi Arabia.
Oh my God.
And embarrassing thing. Both of them almost killed each other.
Both Saudi Arabia matches.
Yeah, that other one doesn't exist. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, that Shawn Michaels. Nope, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. That DX what? No.
Who's DX? That team from 2009?
like Shawn Michaels retired in 2010. But no, that The Last Ride, God, I loved hearing my man's 2 cents on everything. Like it was so like, what's the word? I want to say it was therapeutic, but it was
cathartic.
It was cathartic. Like just hearing Mark Calloway talk about his career and be candid about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like he's like, I didn't like that. I don't like this. And like it was, oh my God. Like I love The Last Ride and his farewell at Survivor Series.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is like I listen to Bruce Pritchard's podcast. I'm a huge fan of it. One of the things is whenever they talk about earlier opponents for Taker is when you start hearing just how candid he can be. He would go up to Bruce Pritchard and is like, why the fuck did you book me against Giant Gonzalez? Or why the fuck did you against King Kong?
Good question. Why did he book him against Giant Gonzalez?
Yeah. But
a lot of those early Taker matches at WrestleMania were like, what?
Yeah, quite a few more. Probably the best of his early ones was against Jake at WrestleMania 8, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Probably the thing that struck me the most, though, from The Last Ride was hearing that his brother passed away the day they filmed the Graveyard Match.
Right.
And it's COVID, and he couldn't go see his mom.
Right. Like,
Fuck, man. Kudos to him. That's a true professional right there. Like, if it was me, I'd have said, fuck you, we're taping this later.
Yeah, and he did it for Vince, dude. And we've always heard about Taker and Vince's relationship and how they've always been tight, you know.
Yeah.
And that's a nice summation of it at the end of Taker's career.
100%.
But that's a good one.
That's my number 4. Finally getting to know the man behind the myth.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's not nothing Taker related is on my list, so I'm glad you mentioned it. Well, I lied because my number 3. Actually, I did lie. I just lied right to both of your faces.
Wow.
Number 3 is WrestleMania 36.
Oh, God.
Like the production and just everything around it, right? Mm-hmm. So WrestleMania 36 was the first big wrestling show to happen in COVID. And we will, in 20 years, we will look back at WrestleMania 36, regardless of what you thought of the show, you would think to yourself, holy shit, they pulled it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they did it. It was over the course of 2 nights. Genius, by the way. Let's do that all the time now.
To sit down for 9 hours on my couch.
Yo, I mean, it's still long as hell. Like, it's still super long, but it was spread out over 2 nights. I love that. Let's take the Wrestle Kingdom approach. It's not too bad to take the Wrestle Kingdom approach. Mm-hmm. And they proved that at WrestleMania 36. The pre-tapes with the Firefly Funhouse with Bray Wyatt and John Cena. Nick and I were both huge stands of that match. Now, boy, Nick is a Bray Wyatt the Fiend stan. So
you can tell from what you showed me earlier.
but that match rules. Like, it absolutely rules. And then the Boneyard match. We were just talking about Undertaker and AJ Styles. As much as I would have loved to see them wrestle in front of a crowd, in front of hundreds of thousands of people, the way it happened, and Taker legitimately riding off into the darkness on his motorcycle, like that's it.
Yep,
that's it. That's all we needed. McIntyre winning the belt, beating Goldberg, and like my man took a beating. Like Drew McIntyre, they made him look good AF. Mm-hmm. Like when they bring back these part-timers usually they're like Goldberg out here beating Kevin Owens at Fastlane. Like, you know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. But
I get why, but I didn't want it to happen.
Exactly. I get it, but I don't get it. And now with they did that with what's it called? No, I lied. It was Brock. He beat Brock. He beat Brock.
Yeah, Braun
Strowman beat Goldberg. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Brock's in the same boat. Because my boy Brock Lesnar is, again, it's as cool as it is to see him. Yeah. I didn't want Lesnar to come in there and wreck shop. And my man McIntyre's out here eating freaking F5s and suplexes, and they're making him look great.
Yeah.
That whole card, whether it was the triple threat ladder match with the one representative from each tag team,
that was great.
Kevin Owens, and was it Seth Rollins?
It was Seth Rollins, yeah.
Yes, like there was like the fact that they pulled it off.
Edge Orton.
Yeah, we'll say. Don't forget
Edge and Orton. Hell, me like they pulled it off. And although that Orton Edge match was a little too long, they still made it work.
Yeah, and the thing. Watching it at the time, it didn't feel long to me.
Oh no! In hindsight, trying to rewatch the thing. That's the problem.
We're gonna rewatch for sure. But at the time,
by the time, and it was great to hear Metalingus again, and at WrestleMania. Granted, there was no fans there, but still.
But at the Rumble,
one of the we'll get there. Man, we will get there. So, WrestleMania 36, the fact that they pulled it off, how successful it was, how great it was as a show. It was one of the better Manias in recent memory. At least, God, one of the better Manias of the last decade, if not the best Mania of the last decade.
I don't know. I put WrestleMania 31 over it myself, but I will not argue with it. Is definitely in the top 3.
Well, it's 31 the one at
Rollins cashed in against Brock and Roman.
Yes, okay, we're thinking of the same one. Okay, so but like it's one of the best Manias in recent memory. Like you can even go further back in the decade. I would still put 36 pretty high up there. This and the fact that they did it in a pandemic and it worked, and not everybody got COVID out of that. Yeah. Like especially really early on when WWE was real stingy about everything.
Oh yeah,
it show rules. WrestleMania 36,
WWE has shown one thing over the years, and that they know how to adapt to survive.
Yes, 1,000%
for sure.
And WrestleMania 36 is that's Exhibit A. Nick, hit me with your 3, brother.
I usually in this situation, because I'll be honest, my number 2, which would be a number 1 in this scenario, my number 1's a special one, but my number 2 is technically my number 1. I would have never thought that I was ever going to put Roman freaking Reigns this high up on a list.
So wait, you're number 3 or number 2? I'm a little confused.
Sorry, he's my number 3. My number 2 is
my number 2.
Yeah,
so we'll talk about him now, but that's my number 2.
Let's talk Roman. Yeah, hell yeah.
Let's talk Roman, because holy shit, they changed. They did what I said, and I think I might have said it on this show. I think I said on this show, Chris, I did say that on this show. Holy crap, I need to go back and find the clip. I said, bring back Roman Reigns as a heel, like they did The Rock, and his career is going to take off from there. That was one of my high spots. Holy shit. Pardon my French.
Oh my God, yeah.
It was one of my high spots. I said that Roman Reigns, you bring him back as a heel, and I'm going to love that man. And holy crap, is he the best thing to come out of the WWE this year, in my opinion?
100%. Top heel in wrestling right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, unbelievable was this man. And the fact of the matter is, Roman Reigns had a career renaissance. He's going to get cheered if he even is still acting like this heel when they bring back the fans.
Yeah.
It's like him and Jey Uso. Holy crap.
Like, I mean, the match he pulled, him and Jey Uso, that match, holy fuck.
One of my favorites of the year.
Star of the year behind Otis. No, I'm just kidding. Breakout star of the year. Jey Uso. The whole family right now, but Roman Reigns in particular. The second that you see him show up with Paul Heyman, out of all people, not to quote Chris Anthony Lopez, but I popped. I was like, what?
And how they did it.
I was texting Chris like, holy shit.
It's like, what?
Yeah. It's like you could see it was coming. Yeah. The second that Roman got his Roman lost his smile and got a new smile back. So, like,
what I find funny about all this, I just praised WWE a couple minutes ago saying they know how to adapt, survive, but I'm going to tell them they do not learn from their own fucking history. Like you said earlier, it's like The Rock when he turned heel. Nobody wanted babyface Rock. Nobody wanted Roman Reigns babyface shoved down our throats.
No,
I think they would have learned to do this earlier, but man, when they finally pulled the trigger, woof. Yeah. Woof. It's right on, man. I've always loved Roman Reigns, but this just catapulted him right to the top for me.
And I wanted Roman Reigns to be more. So I see Roman Reigns as a corporate character.
Yeah.
When he, came out as Joe and I and announced that that the cancer had come back, I felt like I was seeing the true Roman Reigns. And I feel like that's what I'm getting right now is just Roman Reigns working with Paul Heyman at the same time, but being himself, which is what I thought they were getting out of The Rock as well when he joined the nation and turned heel. So I just feel as though, this was this for part of the year was not Roman Reigns' year for good reason, but they brought him back at the perfect time. And it was incredible.
The Samoans, when they're given the opportunity, know how to play good heels.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
They're very special in that way. They know how to piss people off. And if you ever, and there are people you don't want to piss off, definitely all you got to do is hear the stories of Pat Patterson in San Francisco and freaking causing riots with the Samoans and this wild Samoans wanting to kill him before they even became wrestlers. Like,
what they're doing right now with Jey and Roman is spectacular. Jimmy's hurt. He tore his ACL at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. I remember
still out.
I didn't realize.
Jey said in an interview on the podcast that Jimmy should be coming back soon.
Good,
before WrestleMania. So,
I'm curious how he fits into the picture.
Oh God, I can't wait.
Yeah.
But Nick, you said that was your number 3, and so that was your number 2, right?
So my number 3 is one. When I first saw this GIF, it gave me so much joy, and every time I still see it, I go, wee! It's when Keith Lee pounced Adam Cole into the fucking audience.
Yeah, that was this year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you just, all you see is like Adam Cole, and you turn around, and you see Keith Lee out of nowhere, and pew! Out his
Yo, That was
I said that to some non-wrestling friends of mine, and they all laughed at that. Like, one of the best gifts I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
it put like Keith Lee's already over AF.
Oh, yeah.
But that made him like super over. And Adam Cole can get like shat on and he'll be over for anything, right? And people just love Adam Cole, baby. But that bit and how they worked the camera, how they directed that shit, you had no idea Keith Lee was coming, and then oh my god.
Yeah, and yes, that was this year. It was during the summer. I just had to double check myself.
I'm watching it right now just because it's so funny.
Glee. So happy.
Oh
Literally,
my god.
the first time I saw those were the words that came out of my mouth. Whee!
Like that is nuts. That oh my lord. I forgot that was this year. Or last year again. I was like that last year just felt so damn long.
Yeah.
I vividly remember that. Because they've done that spot a few times since.
But this is one of
so good. The first one's where the party's at.
I cannot wait for Keith Lee to finally, no pun intended, ascend to his rightful place. Like that dude is special.
God, yes.
He's special.
One day. They halfway they messed them up in the beginning, and I know we'll probably get to that in a little bit when we talk about the shows, but this is that Keith Lee moment, dude. Again, like that's the second like singular moment. I like that. I like that. That was a good one. My number 2 is something we've already touched on, so I won't elaborate too much on it. But I think 2020 was the year of the career year, if y'all know what I mean. We've talked about Sasha. I honestly think this was probably the best Sasha's been on the main roster, so I would consider that her career year. Bayley, I mean, enough said. Roman Reigns, he only competed the last 4 months of the year, and my God, he's done more in 4 months than he's done the last.
Wait, did he compete at the beginning of the year, or was he supposed to come back and then pulled out at the last minute? Is that
he was there January, February, left in March, and last 4 months.
Yeah, okay.
Last 4 months have been astronomical.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
We talked about Drew. And even just to jump over to AEW for a second, like legit, like Cody Rhodes. Like we're out here talking about Brody Lee.
Yep.
Before he passed away, like they were doing some great things, some of the best things that they've done in their entire career. Yeah. And honestly, the craziest part of all this to me is that they did it all with no fans, and the fact that they all succeeded to whatever degree that they succeeded to. I want to emphasize those 4 though. Even I would say Cody, like Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. They all had career years, and when we look back at their careers whenever they end, 2020 sans fan or with little amount of fans in AEW's case, like damn, that's where the money was at. That's when they realized their potential, and they peaked. I don't want to say they peaked, but they hit the top, and honestly, they can just get higher and higher, especially when fans come back. So I thought 2020 as my number 2 was the year of the career year. And I mean, we've talked about all these people enough, but I just wanted to mention that as my 2 because I honestly thought, like, like a lot of great wrestlers came out of 2020 and they all had killer years. Yeah. So that's my number 2. Nick, hit me with it.
Eddie freaking Kingston. I love Eddie Kingston. Sign Eddie Kingston. Trending on Twitter. Getting him to WWE. You fucked up because you did not sign Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston, it was like literally my favorite thing to come out of this year. Dude and this is a personal one because like I've seen Eddie Kingston wrestle in person when he was in the Indies. I love Eddie Kingston. He is so damn good. He's so good on the mic. I love his look. He competed for a world championship in a company that just formed that he wasn't even supposed to be in. He showed up for the spot for the TNT championship out of nowhere, and everybody was like, sign that man. And I cannot agree. And to cap the year off, his speech before the Brody Lee tribute made me cry. It was so damn good. He's so empowered. He's so good on the mic. Give my man all the championships. I don't even care if it's the women's too. Just give him all WWE messed up by not signing Eddie Kingston. I love Eddie Kingston.
Okay, so a little bit of foreclosure. Like when it comes to mostly anything outside of WWE, like there are a lot of blind spots for me, unfortunately, just because of where I am. It's a lot harder for me to digest some of the independent stuff. So I didn't know Eddie Kingston's name until last week, to be honest. Like, I mean, I'd heard him, but I didn't know who he was. And so last week was my first exposure to him. And I got to say, just based on that one night alone, I'm sold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston and how he got to AEW, Nick, I do not even blame you for marking out as much as you did. Because I remember we were on the show, like we were talking, and Eddie Kingston, again, I was like Soda. I didn't know who Eddie Kingston was. I heard the name, but I'm like, I don't know who that is. And if you watch like PWG, you're gonna know who Eddie Kingston is. Or you watch ROH, you're gonna know who Eddie Kingston is. But I didn't. I just didn't. But when my man showed up on TNT, it was really hyped. The wrestling community was like, "Yo, Eddie Kingston on TNT," and I mean, when he popped up on the scene, he did so good in that one TNT title match with Cody that they're like, "Yo." Like they gave him a contract just based off of that. And apparently, like, I think, unless I'm getting my wrestlers confused, WWE called him like the next day, or like later after they saw him on Dynamite. It's like, hey guys, and it's like, yeah, about that. But holy hell, like that Eddie Kingston, like his route to AEW, and even what he's done in AEW, like everything with the family, like with Butcher and Blade, and at least for a while, Lucha Bros, like they've done some great shit. And Eddie's future in AEW is bright as hell. That match with Moxley was freaking nuts. So, dude, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to go back and find some of these. You just listed, like Kingston and Moxley sounds fucking dope.
It was an I Quit match, if I'm not mistaken.
Goddamn. Yeah. Okay, I gotta
it was good.
I've always loved wrestling, just because the amount of content that is out there sometimes can be a little off-putting. That's why sometimes I don't have the time. I don't really venture into a lot of the other stuff. Last week that was my first AEW Dynamite ever.
Oh wow! Okay,
like wake up.
it's dude. Dynamite, like that's I don't want to spoil anyone's number ones, but like that was an honorable mention for me was Dynamite as a whole.
Yeah.
Or really just the Wednesday Night Wars as a whole. Because they've made each other better by competing with each other.
Which is what WWE needs, is a good competitive kick in the ass.
Yeah. So and as much as everyone wanted Dynamite to be on Mondays so they can swamp Raw every week, it's better that they went up against NXT because they both had the same audience, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
There's a lot of overlap. A lot of people are watching both shows.
Impact made that mistake years ago is they went against a proven commodity. Yes, NXT is proven, but it's not that proven. So you're right. The smart move was to stick on Wednesdays.
And like the NXT, like unless you're like us and we have the network, like we're not like you're not gonna know what NXT is. You're not gonna know who Johnny Gargano is,
right?
At least on the mainstream. So yeah, and what AEW's done this year, so that I highly recommend going back and watching their shows, any of their shows. To me, they've yet to have a bad show, like how Raw has bad shows. Like Dynamite doesn't have a bad show.
That's good to hear because I've seen lots of clips here and there, but from start to finish, last week was my first time, and kicking myself a lot of it.
No, and it's some good shit, brother. But so you said your number 2 is Roman.
Yeah.
You want to start at number 1, Soda? Since we already talked a little bit of Roman.
Yeah. So my number 1 is you're gonna hear it and you're like, duh, it's Edge returning.
Yeah.
I honestly forgot we were gonna talk about that. Let's do it.
For me, that is one of the things I love when it's done right, is when you keep a secret in professional wrestling, because nobody fucking knew.
Right.
Nobody knew. None of the wrestlers knew. If I'm not mistaken, I think only like a handful of people knew. One of them was Christian. But like none of the current competitors knew, and that was genius because the pop that got still gives me chills a year later. Oh my God, because I remember I'm an Edge fan from back in the day, from the days of the Brood to Team ENC when he was teaming with Kurt Angle to Rated R Superstar. Like I'm a huge, not just because he's Canadian, but I'm a huge Edge fan. And you know what? I was happy to see him. It wasn't on his own terms, but I was happy to see what he was doing, starring in Vikings and stuff like that. But to hear and everyone going, no, and then he appears and you can see the emotion on his face because he never thought he'd come back from this. Nobody thought. And to see him come back and have a great, it was cut short, unfortunately, but a good resurgence, it opens the doors for so many people to come back potentially from this. Page, we'll leave Sting out of it. It happened with Daniel Bryan, but that was a different type of surgery. Like anybody that's really badly damaged their neck to the point they can't return, this has opened the door to them to say, yes, it's possible. And every once in a while, I'll go back and I'll watch. I bought the DVD just for this. So I can just pop it right in. And just to see him come out and just throw up the horns again, it's like 2020 is made for me right there.
That Edge return. So I said in the show before, I wasn't the biggest Edge guy because when I started watching wrestling, I thought to myself, like, I'm gonna like the good guys and I'm not like like Chris Jericho. I didn't like Chris Jericho for a long time. So like I wisened up. I'm like, wait, Chris Jericho's a great character. Same thing for Edge.
When you started watching wrestling was some of Jericho's best work.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was doing the whole hypocrite, parasite, like all that crazy shit. And I loved it. I was eating it up now. Well, I hated it then. I'm eating it up now. But Edge, I never loved Edge. I always really liked Edge. But I'm like, Edge, like he's cool. His entrance is hard. Like the whole gimmick is dope. But I didn't fully appreciate Edge until he went away, which is usually how things happen, right?
No, like, it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. And I went back and watched a lot of Edge stuff, but I vividly remember where I was at and what I was doing, who I was with when I was watching the Rumble of 2020, and we heard Metalingus, and it's like, and I jumped up. Talk about pop, brother. I jumped up. I was running. I was like when Kofi won the damn belt. Like I was freaking the hell out. And it was just what a moment. And what was that, Minute Maid in Houston? Is that where it was at? Minute Maid Park?
I believe so. Yeah, it was Houston because I remember there was talk about possibly Shawn Michaels coming in because of something like, or no, it was San Antonio.
No, because it was at a baseball. It was at a baseball park.
Yeah,
because I don't think San Antonio has a baseball field. At least not a big one. That's my knowledge. I think it was in Houston. But either way, that pop was that. Oh yeah, God, that whole thing was nuts. That whole thing was insane.
Yeah,
damn.
Yeah, because like I said, like I remember the night he retired, and it was a damn shame.
Mm-hmm.
Damn shame.
It's a trend, like how you said it with like the Daniel Bryan, Page. It's sudden. Yeah. And we're all like, wait, no, but you have to do all those things.
Yeah, and you're right, it was Houston.
Word. And now that Edge is back, hopefully he comes back sooner rather than later after all the injuries that he was dealing with. I want to see Edge Styles really getting bad.
If anybody can get a good match out of Edge and keep him safe, it's AJ Styles.
It's our boy.
Don't give me a ladder match either. Like, I mean, as much as I would love to see that, just give me a one-on-one match between the two for God's sake.
Damn, like y'all want to give 45 minutes to Edge and Orton? Give me 45 minutes to freaking.
Here's an image for your mind. AJ Styles goes for the phenomenal form, and in midair, Edge spears him.
Oh,
yeah. Like
beautiful.
Yeah,
that
you just wrote the finish.
If executed correctly, that's going to be up there with Shelton Benjamin eating sweet chin music while doing a dive,
or Evan Bourne getting RKO'd.
Yes,
that one was great.
Yeah, I didn't see that one live, but I saw the Shawn Michaels one live, and that's probably the biggest pop I've ever given a move ever, because it was so out of nowhere. Because normally you can tell when they're telegraphing those things, because when they come off the rope, they're not exactly like fully into the move. In this case, Shelton was. He looked like he was going to hit it, so that's what made it. That's what caught me, because you could, like I said, you can kind of see where they telegraph it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty then. My number one, although that's a kick-ass one. My number one, this is kind of a blanket one, and it's kind of a cop-out, but I'm going to do it anyway. My number one is the fact that wrestling is still a thing in 2020, that it lived. When the pandemic first hit, like there was a lot of fear around pro wrestling. It's a circus. Like as crazy as that might sound, pro wrestling's a circus. Like you're traveling act. You travel around the country, and there was a lot of fear that these companies wouldn't necessarily survive, at least the way that they thought they were going to. Mm-hmm. When WWE had to stop with traveling and they had to find a place to post up, and they chose the PC. AEW was killing the game, and then bam, like stop, and then now I got to go to Atlanta, shoot 2 weeks of shows in 2 days, and go to Daily Plaza. Like it was a lot of fear. The New Japan guys not being able to come to the US and vice versa. and the UK talent being stuck in the UK, and
the greatest Jordan Devlin, the greatest cruiserweight champion of all time.
Jordan Devlin, like all that stuff, dude. The fact that wrestling thrived, and so you touched on this earlier with WWE, but I will extend it to really everybody else. Like, talk about adapting when they needed to adapt.
Yeah,
like everyone did so, and honestly, it gave us some of the best wrestling in a while. Like with the exception of Raw, but the talent, still found a way to like kick ass with no fans to feed off of for a while before they introduced the Thunderdome brother. And before they did any of that, they were just wrestling in an empty PC, an empty performance center, or at Daily Plaza, like outside. So the fact that wrestling thrived, succeeded, and laid the groundwork, at least amongst the two big ones in North America, AEW and WWE,
and Impact. Don't forget them as well.
And Impact, Impact had a resurgence as well. Yeah. Like they really laid the groundwork going forward. And when fans come back in their full force, holy shit! Like it's going to be a second coming of wrestling. Everyone's going to go to every single wrestling show that they can, knowing that something like COVID-19 can happen again. Now we're going to go to all those bingo hall shows. Yeah, they're like it's going to be dope.
But they're so much fun, by the way. Seriously.
Yeah.
So that's where I saw it. I
kind of live in the States sometimes. I could see this stuff.
So wrestling in 2020, not only did they have to adapt and change going forward, but we're going to have a resurgence of pro wrestling in the mainstream. I honestly do think so. And when it does happen, I know the three of us will be first in line. So 2020.
So out of all the setups we've seen because of COVID, what has been your favorite? Like for me, mine is actually NXT from the Capitol Wrestling Center, because the way they film it, it looks like a Kumite type thing. It looks like an underground fight. It looks like what Raw Underground should have been.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
I cannot agree more. God, just to be different, because I do think it is the Capitol Wrestling Center in NXT.
Which I love how they named it. It has to be why they did it. Capitol Wrestling was the very first incarnation of WWF under Vince McMahon's dad. That was the name, was Capitol Wrestling Federation. So I wonder if that was an homage to him.
Probably. Like, and NXT was doing like the In Your House, and like they were definitely playing homage to older.
And see like the Halloween Havoc sign come back, and In Your House, and
In Your House was dope. I really wish they committed to the whole house gimmick, but I mean, I only do so much.
Yeah.
Damn, I can't even think of a different one.
AEW did really well this year.
They're just doing it in the Jacksonville Stadium in a corner, right?
They're doing it at Daily Plaza. Yeah. Well, it's not where the Jaguars play. At least not on the field.
No, but it's like in a section of the stadium.
It's all pocket. Yeah. So, it's NXT, dude. NXT has a kick-ass setup.
Yeah.
All right, Nick.
So well for War Games, but anyways.
Yeah, dude. Oh God. All right, Nick. Your number one thing of wrestling from 2020 to end the segment, brother.
I'm just kidding. It wasn't Retribution.
Oh, all right. The
concept. Chris Anthony Lopez said that he had a cop-out, but I have a freaking cop-out, because my number one of wrestling in 2020 is...
Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Introducing your hosts, Kids at Heart.
My number one thing in professional wrestling wasn't even about, well, it is about professional wrestling, but it's being able to do this podcast, which has always been a dream of mine, every single week, with Chris Anthony Lopez, having amazing guests on like Soda. It's doing this. It's fantastic. It's being able to have a platform. It's being able to click a button and playing, because that is my favorite quoted wrestling ever. And in a close second, it was this.
And the winner of that match will go on to face Drew McIntyre for the.
Forgot about that. That was a close second to my number one. But no, Wrestle Reel made 2020 so much better for me. Being able to kick it and just have a relaxed show to talk wrestling in the most unconventional way possible. Because I've seen you out there, all you other wrestling podcasts. It's just been a blast. Here's to 2021. here's to the future of Wrestle Reel.
Right.
But no, it's definitely being able to do Wrestle Reel every single week.
I would not call this a cop-out.
No, that was sweet. That was cute, and I liked it. And I'm so glad you went last.
But it's also Retribution. I love
honestly,
Retribution.
It falls into the parameters that I was given for the top 5. It makes total sense. And I mean, yeah, you're doing something you love. That's not a cop-out. It's about wrestling. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I thought for sure Adam Pearce was going to be revealed to be the one behind what you call him?
Retribution?
Retribution. Why did I blank on that? I thought for sure because I know he's a former professional wrestler, and around the same time they started building him up more as an on-screen personality.
And the authority figure about him being an authority figure.
I thought for sure they were going to put him in there, and then it's Alpha Ali.
That's a good theory. In hindsight, that makes way more sense than Mustafa. Is that his name now? Yeah. Mustafa Ali?
I don't know.
Because apparently we've all been saying it wrong this whole time, but no, Nick, that was cute. That
also, when we're reflecting on 2021, my number one is going to be Miz and I, Joker dancing down the stairs with his WWE championship in his hands. All right, now we are going to move on to our number 2.
Following the longest one count in Wrestle Reel history, we are going to talk about these tier lists that formerly Pro Wrestling Sheet's Ryan Satin, now of WWE on Fox is Ryan Satin. He released these tier lists of the active competition on both shows, and both of them were, in his opinion, A, and B, they were how they're used on the weekly product. It's not because of how good of a wrestler they are or any other criteria. It's how they're used on the weekly programming. And when Nick and I first saw the Smackdown list, he brought this to my attention, and I thought to myself, like, that's interesting, ranking the rosters. And then he did it for Raw, which is a significantly bigger roster. Yeah. But I'm just curious on everyone's 2 cents because we haven't spoken of these. And
I saw the Raw one literally right before we started the show.
Yeah, me too.
So do we want to let's start with SmackDown since we have more time to sit on that one?
Yeah. You mind bringing that up again real quick?
Oh, it's going to be up the entire time.
It's going to be up the whole time? Okay.
Word. I mean, I think we can all agree at Sasha and Roman at the top, right? Like that makes sense. Bailey, Daniel Bryan, and this might be my biggest take of this, but like Seth Rollins has been on SmackDown like a handful of times since he's been drafted there. Not even.
Yeah. I didn't understand that at all. I would have put the Street Profits or Jey Uso right up there.
Well, the Street Profits are up there. Yeah, I'd swap, you know what? I would swap the Street Profits to A. Yeah, I'd agree with you. Swap Street Profits for A, and I'd put Jey Uso into the Street Profits old spot.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I'd move Seth to B because again, like he's barely been on TV, and he was with that bum Rey Mysterio feud. Mm-hmm. That's still like the payoff was nothing. Yeah, like the Mysterio's being assholes to Baron Corbin. Big E. I honestly want him to be B+ just because.
Yeah, I thought he'd be higher.
Yeah, I mean now, especially with him winning the belt,
and thank God they're finally giving him that push, man.
Oh my God! Right. And I don't want to get too far ahead. I'll save my question for later. Kevin Owens at a B+. Kevin's doing some of the best work on the main roster, like on SmackDown now against Roman Reigns.
Yeah, but I'd say B+ was definitely fair.
No, I won't argue it too much. But Kevin has been freaking killing it.
Yeah, I know Brian is A though.
Oh, we don't like that.
No, I don't know. It just out of the stuff, I don't find his stuff as memorable compared to the other guys lately. Honestly,
touche. He did take a long ass break.
Yeah,
like he had that match with Styles in that IC tournament and over the summer, and he went away for a while.
Yeah, which we said was the best match of the year.
We said it was the best TV match of the year, 1,000%.
You know, this is a hot take. I would put Carmella up there, actually.
Oh, like where? Where would you put her at?
I'd probably put her in the B+ B level.
Wow.
I think the gimmick that they gave her when she came back works for her because I think she's one of those. She's better as a heel because there's just something about her that makes you want to fucking hate her.
Yeah.
And her match against Sasha was a pretty damn good match.
It was probably one of the if it wasn't one of it definitely was Carmella's best match in the main roster.
Yeah. So I would put her up there.
Yeah, I could rock with that. I could rock her being a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
Jey Uso,
Cesaro and Nakamura should be higher, I would say, because they were tag team champions at one point.
Yeah.
C just seems a little low. I mean, I would argue that Nakamura should be an A+, but as in like they should have done more with him. But that's just
isn't it crazy how Shinsuke is just like relegated to the mid card at this point?
Well, him and Cesaro, they're both better than what they're being utilized.
Yes,
and Bobby Roode.
And Aleister Black. Aleister Black, like since like he got drafted from Raw to SmackDown, and then Zelina went away because of her hot takes on unionizing, and Aleister Black hasn't even been seen on TV in months.
I hate it when they fucking do that.
Like it's so gross.
Yeah.
Like oh my god, Billie Kay, she
was for me the more annoying of the two Iconics.
But that made her so good in my
Which is good because that's their gimmick.
It is. But I honestly, I'd say Peyton Royce is going to be the one with the breakout of the two.
Oh,
yeah. So far.
Yeah. And that's, actually, you know what? Fuck, I'll say it. Sami Zayn should not be a B. He should at least be B plus A.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree.
Sami Zayn has been doing... I've probably said this enough already, but the best work on the main roster since he got up here.
Oh, hands down.
He's the best.
Like Fidel Castro.
Yeah, I forgot. So I think it was you that mentioned it, or Nick. I forgot which one of y'all said it, but y'all said that Roman's one of the best heels in wrestling right now, if not the best heel in wrestling. Yes. Sami's damn close.
Oh yeah.
For different reasons. Like they're obviously not the same kind of heel, but Sami is so damn good.
That's the thing. They're the two different sides of the same heel coin. Because you got Roman, who's like the insurmountable mountain, and you've got Sami Zayn, who's the chicken shit heel.
Like, oh my god, I love Sami Zayn, what he's doing right now, and like Big E beating him on SmackDown, it made sense. Like Sami doesn't need a belt to be good, but damn, does he deserve everything, like the world and more, whatever the hell we can give him. But I think Sami should be at least B+, in my opinion. With like, I don't know about Ray. I'd bump Ray down. Mm-hmm. Kevin Owens, the Street Profits, Daniel Bryan Bailey. He should be in that conversation. He really should be.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I didn't even realize that Ray was there. Like, why is he in the B+ section? Is it
I forgot
following up from like the last feud, or I mean the Raw stuff? Like if it's based around SmackDown, he should not be as high as he is.
I mean, yeah, I'd put him with. I low-key put him with the Sun. I put him with Dominic at the C. If I'm being honest, like even shit like Murphy gained from it. King Corbin's been on TV. Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, they're definitely trying to be relevant again, kicking the shit out of the Street Profits. Yeah, Chad Gable's been good recently.
Because he's not Shorty G anymore.
Oh,
I mean, then you got like the bottom of the list. It's like Mojo Rawley doesn't even exist anymore. Mickey James is out, and then it's Kalisto that's underneath the. I had to figure this out myself. It's Kalisto that's underneath the banner down there.
Huh.
Yeah, Kalisto. Mickey James has been hurt, so
right. Yeah.
And
he showed up on Raw.
What'd you say, Soda?
Lars came in. What happened with Lars Sullivan? Like he came in, did his. Once again, they try to set him up as a badass, and then he disappears right away once again. What happened?
Did he do something? Did something else come out about him?
Did he do more gay porn? You guys heard about that, right?
Yeah, I totally. That's the first time those two words have been said in that order on this show.
You're welcome.
But it is fact. No, it's fact.
Yeah.
But I forgot what he did. I know. What was it? Was it like
he said a lot
sexist
of
sexist or racist tweets or comments? Something like that. I
think it was more racist. Yeah.
Yeah. Lars Sullivan just spinning the wheel of what bad thing I do this time, and racist / sexist tweets was one of them. And Lars Sullivan, what the hell just fell? Lars Sullivan is a Just stop. Just stop. And when Apollo Crews should be a little bit higher too, especially after recent.
Yeah. That's another guy, man. Like, they're underutilizing him.
And he's gonna face Big E later tonight as of this upload. So he'll be hopefully we'll see what they do with Apollo Crews. Hopefully they don't mess him up too much.
I think he would have benefited from the Hurt Business personally.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, anyways.
Accused of sending a woman DMs on Instagram or something like that.
That was this time?
Was this one?
It's happened before, but I don't know if this was like this time around. This is why
I remember that. But that was again just running the gamut of what bad thing I do this week, Lars Sullivan.
A weird boy. All right.
It's about some Rossi. Woo!
See, I would argue that this is not. Well, first of all, what the fuck is Charlotte doing up there? Part of my crutch. But
No.
She's Charlotte.
Yeah, she's Charlotte, brother.
Stop.
I'm like on some real shit. Like Charlotte will forever, like when she came back at what was it, TLC? She came back like a ball of fire.
Of course.
And they immediately put the tag belts on her and Oscar. Like immediately. I know, right? Shocker. But honestly, like bump Charlotte down to A, move Alexa Bliss to A+, dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck yeah.
Like honestly, Alexa's been killing it.
Huge Alexa Bliss stan.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yes.
Like
I would argue that this list really is not that controversial.
No, there's a couple spots where I would change people, but none major.
No, nothing too crazy.
Hurt Business isn't a C+ for sure.
No, I put him probably B.
Riddler is a Riddler. Fuck my god. Riddle. Matt Riddle. That is his freaking name. Matt Riddle is not as low as he is. Pretty low in my opinion. I'd say he's a B at least.
I think Keith Lee's low in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where is Keith?
Keith?
Oh my god! Why
he's
is
in the
he a B? What the hell?
Yeah,
Whoa.
you know what? I'd swap him and Charlotte, to be honest.
Whoa! You put Keith Lee as an A+, sir?
I'd put Keith Lee as an A.
I'm cool with Keith. Yeah, I'd say Keith.
You know that match with Drew McIntyre this last week? That's what did it for me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's a matter of time for the belts on him too.
Yeah, exactly.
Have we been calling this man Dabatongo this entire time? His name is Dabakato?
No, that was you, man. You're calling him Tamatanga. I mean, like, okay. Styles is good at A. Asuka, I love the A pluses, right? McIntyre, Orton, The Fiend, and with the exception of Charlotte, like I said, move Alexa up. Lana is C+. I'd move Lana lower, honestly.
Really?
And it's because she got hurt. It's because she got hurt. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like what they did with her at Survivor Series. Not stand by that. I'd move the Hurt Business up just a little bit.
Me too. I would actually combine them with Lashley, to be honest.
I'd put all of them at B+.
Yeah. Or put all of them together, but at B.
At the very least, at a B.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman.
Why is Tucker so low? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's like just to acknowledge the bottom, right? Like, so it's Tozawa, Dabakato, Eric, Lucha House Party, Humberto, Titus O'Neil, and Tucker. I forgot Titus O'Neil was an active wrestler.
Yeah, me too.
And why did they give Ricochet the shaft at D? Lord Jesus!
What the fuck did Ricochet do to deserve to be wasted like this?
Like he's feuding against Retribution, and somehow he's the lower person.
Yeah.
What, bro? Like,
let's get Ryan Satin on the horn. I want to ask him about this.
Yeah, we gotta call Ryan Satin to explain this shit, because this is awfully interesting. Yeah, I know Nick. Every week we plead for Brian Zane of Wrestling with Regret to come on the show, but now we gotta get Ryan Satin on the show too. Damn.
And I do have a question here. How are you going to put Dabakato on here? Where's Omos?
Yeah.
Omos
holy shit,
it right now on Raw.
Yeah.
Did you see him kick a freaking guitar into that one guy's face?
That was perfect timing. With everything between the kick, the guitar, and AJ ducking. Like, perfect timing.
Omos is killing it right now. Omos is going to be a star one day.
Yeah.
I will guarantee you that.
I wonder if he can cut a promo.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, he doesn't really talk a lot. Except he's had some of the greatest moments with AJ Styles when he's like, "You can talk? I didn't even know that."
No kidding. But why is David Cato on the list? He hasn't done anything since Underground, has he?
No.
That's what I'm wondering. It's like
neither has Eric or
Raw. Hey, Eric won the 24/7 championship, which, by the way, move our truth up to at least B or B plus.
Oh, of course.
I'm curious.
Oh, geez. And is this where we differ? Is this? Oh God, I can't.
Has made that stupid title important.
Yeah,
he's made it entertaining. I'll say that.
That title has had no right to work.
Though. That's an impact on Raw. Is knowing that you're at least going to get something entertaining out of our truth.
Word. I can respect that.
You know how old I am? I still remember when he debuted with Road Dogg as
hell yeah,
back as K Quick. That's how old I am.
Freaking Kid Quick.
I love Sheamus up top or at B plus. Sheamus is gonna be a dog. I can't wait for him and McIntyre to actually kill each other in the ring. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Actually,
you know what? Let's swap what I said about Keith Lee earlier. I'd probably put him at the B plus, and I'd move Sheamus down to the B. I think I'd swap them.
Okay.
It's because Keith Lee has really been doing it more for me than Sheamus. Sheamus has never really been. Respect to Sheamus, I do respect him, but for me, his on-screen stuff has never really clicked with me ever.
Yeah.
Okay. I've always
it has for me. So
yeah,
I love me too, Sheamus.
The Miz at B plus. I would. Oh God! Up until TLC, I would have Miz and Morrison together at least B plus. But TLC brought them both down for me a little bit, and I love that they gave the Miz back the briefcase.
Yeah,
and I hope it pans out to something. It doesn't just fizzle out again like how TLC panned out. But I'd still move Miz to B, honestly, and I move Keith up just a little bit.
I've been a Miz fan since, I don't want to say day one, but I've been a Miz fan since early on.
You were a chick magnet, like you were.
Yeah, like right around the time he won his first title, I got it, and I've been a fan ever since.
Yeah, the Miz will go down as one of probably the most underappreciated.
Oh fuck yeah,
wrestler. If not the one, he'll go down as one of them, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally anticipate like the Miz just being, oh God, yeah.
I'm trying to think who I could compare him to from the past.
Okay, how can
you know what? I would compare him to X-Pac.
X-Pac?
Not in terms of ring quality, but in terms of what they brought to the business and their longevity. Like, think about it. These are two people that a lot of people did not want to succeed. Like, they are the definition of like X-Pac's heat, like booing them because nobody likes them, but they have delivered consistently over their career.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah.
X-Pac is obviously the better of the two when it comes to in ring, but in terms of just like what he's been able to give us, that's who I would compare him to.
I can agree with that because, oh my God, and it's the Miz is just so good.
Yeah,
and I forget. I want to say it was that Daniel Bryan promo, that famous promo he did on Talking Smack.
Oh yeah,
where he was just like, where he's like, I never get hurt, you know, I'm always here. Like you run away, all this, like you run away, Daniel, all this shit. And that's when I realized it took that, which is so like, and that's telling of me, not the Miz. Like, holy hell, the Miz is so damn good.
He's
like the Miz is the shit.
He is very much a team player, and nobody ever talks about that.
No, I'm totally with the Miz, and I know Nick is like Nick's more of a Miz market than I am, but I'll be the first person to tell you like the Miz deserves better.
Yeah,
but in this current age of WWE, where you have guys at the top like Drew McIntyre, like The Fiend, like on SmackDown, Roman Reigns, and how they're being booked right now, how the hell can the Miz beat these dudes?
Right? He's definitely been a victim of circumstance. Like, I would love to see him have one more title run, but this time be more meaningful than his first one was.
His first one was he got shafted.
Right? And I mean, think about it. That was 10 years ago.
Oh my god!
Because I'm looking at my DVD collection right now. WrestleMania 27.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god! That was 10 years ago.
10 years ago, and he's gotten so much better since then.
Words don't even describe how good the Miz is.
Yeah.
Like, and his promo work.
Oh god.
I could watch the Miz talk on a microphone for days on end.
Him and Maurice together? Oh my god.
When they were rocking that tandem, like hell yeah.
Yeah.
1000%. So I still would. Well, all that being said, as of right now, I'd put him back. I put him in B with Morrison. I love the dynamic they brought, like John Morrison coming back, another highlight of 2020.
Yeah, that's right. That did happen this year, didn't it?
John Morrison coming back. Like I rock with that. I want them to do more, and they didn't have the tag belts for too long. I think it's a matter of time before that happens again.
Mm-hmm.
And shit, like Miz, bona fide Hall of Famer, like a lot of these names over here.
Fuck yeah. Miz earned it, and he earned it. Like, from getting kicked out of the locker room because he didn't know how to, I don't want to say behave backstage, but he didn't really know the proper protocols, to being one of the locker room leaders and to being like a company man. Like, he's earned it.
Exactly. So this is like this Raw, it's like we said, it's pretty fair. I highly anticipate the return of Andrade when it does.
Yes.
Because I read this thing. I don't want to keep talking about the dirt sheets, but they're talking about Andrade. They were supposed to have, at least according to whatever I read, Charlotte and Andrade actually like bring their real life stuff onto Raw television, but obviously that's not what they're rocking with right now. But I highly anticipate the return of Andrade because he deserves more than what the hell he's been given.
And now that Zelina is no longer in the picture, I'm curious to see how they're going to utilize him.
That too, shit. Him and Angel Garza. I know they've been trying to do something with Angel Garza.
Yeah, I'm not into the whole Bachelor thing. I could care less.
I'm not into that either. But holy hell.
There was rumors that they were going to bring back Eva Marie for that. Sorry, I left for a second.
No worries.
Fine.
There was rumors that they were going to bring back Eva Marie for that Angel Garza thing.
Oh, Jesus.
See,
going to manage him.
That's someone who I think got shit on undeservedly because it's not like she wasn't trying.
Oh, she embraced everything she was given.
Yeah.
And I know it's a matter of time before she comes back, honestly.
Yeah.
But because I mean it's the worst kept secret that they re-signed her.
Mm-hmm.
And that she's been training at the PC from when I've read, and she was supposed to be at like Legends Night, but that obviously didn't pan out. So
when I heard about Legends Night, this goes back to what I mentioned about Carlito earlier. It sounds like they kind of jumped the gun on that. Like they actually advertised him without actually signing a deal.
Word.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what's come out. Yeah, they did. They were in talks, and then they announced it, and nothing came of it. And that's probably what happened with somebody like Eva Marie and some of that. Just things didn't work out.
Mm-hmm. You know, and when Eva Marie comes back, like I wasn't her biggest fan when she was rocking the first time on the main roster, but when she does come back, I'll give her a shot. I wasn't rocking with what the hell we were given.
Yeah, she left for me just as she was finally finding her groove. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't like the whole getting out of wrestling matches and
hey, you know what? When her top broke, I wasn't complaining.
that was the takeaway from her run, and that's so sad. That's so sad. It took us back to an era of women's wrestling that I don't want to remember.
Well, that era of women's wrestling for me was when I was hitting puberty. So,
and I mean, you were loud. I mean, that's what it was for. You know, like that's But looking back at it,
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. And like when I was growing up, remember this is the time of WWE Divas and Playboy. Was when I was growing up.
word.
So I was there for all that. I was there for the HLA angles, and I was there for Dawn Marie and Tori Wilson, and the infamous Mickie James lesbian thing from WrestleMania 22. Like I was there for all that.
It actually didn't get because they came down on her hard for that, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if how hard they came down, but I do know it never aired after the live showing.
Yeah. Like they wiped that off of everything.
Wiped it clean.
So I mean, Mickie James, she was one of the crossovers. Like obviously she was a part of that era of women's wrestling, but was still a pretty damn good wrestler. Her, Lita, Trish, you know,
for sure.
Trish, even like Trish more so because she and I mean I bet they're all like this.
Yeah,
but Trish was like the model turned wrestler.
And she probably in that instance is probably the best of that group that went from no wrestling experience, just being a model, hired on her looks, to being one of the most revered women's wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, and when she comes back every so often to face Charlotte, you know,
but you know what, Trish can still go.
She can go. 1,000%, and people like Charlotte make her look good because Charlotte's a good wrestler. We like to talk shit, but Charlotte's a fantastic wrestler.
It's mostly with Charlotte. It's just because of really who she is. Like she's Ric Flair's daughter. Don't get me wrong, she has earned her place. But because she's Ric Flair's daughter, she's always going to be given that extra more. And I hope to God we do not have her as a 16-time champion.
Well,
it's probably going to happen, but I don't want it.
Well, there are a lot of things that we may not necessarily want. Yeah. And we're going to actually talk about the things we do hope to see.
Yeah.
And our third count. So let's go ahead and jump over to that, brother.
Kind of an accidental good segue.
So our third count, we're going to talk about our Wrestle Real resolutions for 2021. So the three of us, we went our separate ways. We came back, and we're just going to talk about some of the things we would like to see wrestling do in 2021. It can be WWE. It cannot be WWE. Would anyone like to start?
Well, I'll go for it.
By all means, go ahead.
I want them to stop relying so heavily on stars in the past.
Yes.
I like seeing them as one-offs. Don't get me wrong. I do like seeing them come back for whatever, but I'm getting tired of why do we need Goldberg in another main event?
I wish I could show you this without spoiling my other ones, but it's my first one. Stop with part-timers.
Yep. Yeah. I don't mind them coming back if it's like just a match. As long as it's not a title match and it doesn't have storyline implications, I don't mind coming back for a one-off match. They used to do that back in the old days, but when you put them in a title match for no reason,
Goldberg.
Why?
Goldberg. They don't. They're at least obviously in the context of wrestling. Does anybody?
Yeah,
I mean, people rise up obviously, but I meant it's just like they don't. It just feels unnecessary. The moment that I think that everybody is, it's the Goldberg moment from this past Raw, right? Like,
why? Like, don't get me wrong, it might be a fun match to watch, but why?
And the worst part is that Drew's probably going to lose.
Yeah.
At the Royal Rumble.
Because of some fuck up, I hope to God he doesn't lose. But because of some screw up, they didn't even show his headbutt to Goldberg.
Yeah, apparently that whole show was a mess.
Yeah.
And the cool stuff was after USA took it off TV.
Yeah.
So, no, I could not agree with you more. Like, stop. And I blame shows like Legends Night because that draws ratings.
Yeah.
Like, it worked. Legends Night worked. It did exactly what they wanted it to do. And now I'm shitty because now they think, they want to see more Goldberg. No, we don't.
No.
I don't.
Here's the thing. I don't necessarily mind that he's coming back in a way, but I don't want to, again, I don't want the title picture. It's nice like when they used to utilize like some up-and-coming bad guy or some like mid-level character would come out and they would shit on the people that pass, saying like, I'm the best, blah, blah. And then you'd have the legend come out and then teach him a lesson. That's when I like the legends coming back, not what they're doing with Goldberg. Again.
I mean, like, when Goldberg faced Dolph Ziggler, that felt like the right Goldberg match.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's just like bringing him back to have him face against Drew McIntyre and have him hopefully not win because my God, oh Jesus. Oh,
See, here's the thing that I'm worried about the most is we saw what happened against Undertaker in Saudi Arabia.
Oh
Drew
God.
McIntyre is about the same size.
Oh no! You think Goldberg's gonna mess it up and possibly
Goldberg
mess
was-
up our boy?
Full disclosure, and we know Goldberg was concussed very badly in that Saudi Arabia match, but I'm saying the potential is there because we know he's not the most polished performer.
What about this? I'm about to crush y'all right now. So the Rumble, right at the end of the month, McIntyre, Goldberg, and Goldberg won't. What if he doesn't win?
Yeah,
against McIntyre, but he enters the Rumble and wins that.
And then faces Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Faces Roman Reigns. Imagine Goldberg getting 2 title shots in a span of 3 months over doing jack shit. Like that's my problem. Like my man Goldberg's like, I'm gonna challenge you, brother, and I'm like, what? Like what kind of
brother.
Who can I know, right?
Yeah.
Everyone becomes Hulk Hogan. But it's like, yo, like, who are you to just come in and demand title matches and then the champion is stupid enough to give it to them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm Drew McIntyre, I'm like, no. What the hell?
The Royal Rumble is a great time to bring back the legends because you could put them in there for like a one-off sort of thing, right? To bring them back as a nostalgia moment, like they did with Kevin Nash's Diesel all those years ago, which I popped huge for. Never thought I'd see Diesel.
Big Daddy Cole, Diesel. Great call, Michael
Low-key,
Cole.
one of my favorite theme songs, but I digress. It's instances like that where their legends are best utilized. Keep them out of the main storylines because you have plenty of people on your roster who are just as deserving. And besides, the Royal Rumble is supposed to be a tool to build your next superstar.
Yes. Yep. And I mean, oh God. And Nick and I don't know if we've solidified our male pick for the Rumble this year. I know I've halfway said mine for the women, but I'm scared they're gonna do what I just said and have McIntyre lose or have McIntyre beat Goldberg and Goldberg go into the Rumble and just demolish at 30. Like, you know, like
I don't want that
because
because they just did it with Becky.
Yeah, they legitimately just did it, but in her case, like she lost the belt.
Yeah,
you know.
I wanted to be Keith Lee.
Keith Lee will be a great winner.
Yeah,
because that match that he just had with Drew could open a lot of eyes in management, and we have him win the Rumble and Drew and Keith at WrestleMania. Man, that will be a showstopper.
Oh my God! Stop with the part timers. If you're gonna bring them back, do something useful with them. Like Lesnar too. I don't want to get into Lesnar. Like that's just a whole can of worms. One that I had that wasn't part timers. I'm so glad you mentioned it because now I don't have to bring it up. This isn't. It's something that's out of their control, and I know I'm fully aware of that. But I miss it so much. I kind of touched on it earlier. Fans at shows. Primarily WWE shows, because AEW has done that. They've done some fans. They've done a couple hundred, but they spaced them out unless you're with the party, and you have to wear your mask and everything, and they're outside, which helps. But WWE, geez, you gotta get rid of that Thunderdome, brother. Like it's not doing it for me. The Thunderdome isn't doing it for me. Like I don't like the pipe. Like it's cool visually, but the piped in crowd noise rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, but once you kind of get used to it, you don't really think about it.
I don't like the piped in chants. You know, like I just want fans back. Which what I'm trying to say is that I just want fans back in some capacity.
I'm with you, but really, what the Thunderdome is really the best of a bad situation.
No, and I respect it, and like I said, it's a great visual. It looks awesome. But at the same time, it's a great idea if everyone cooperates. And sometimes people are the worst, or they're just looking at their screens, like watching wrestling and shit. And you see that on the broadcast, like fans that are there and whatever. You can just have them post up in Orlando or wherever the hell they're at now, Tampa, and have them be outside, space them out. You know, like that's just so we can hear an audience again. And I know Vince wants it. Just do it. Do the damn thing.
I mean, the motherfucker has connections in Florida.
Yeah, like if Vince wanted to do WrestleMania last year, like if COVID didn't force him to put it in the PC, he would have done the damn show.
Now, could you
let
imagine
everybody in?
Kevin Owens' jump off the WrestleMania sign actually at
Yeah,
Which
just
part?
Lord Jesus, like that. Oh my God. But yeah, like I would like fans back, but at the moment it's not looking too hot. It's going to be a little bit to have fans back full
Mhm.
force, maybe 2022, which sucks.
Yeah.
But some fans at WWE shows, NXT shows would be so much better, especially
Mhm.
production wise, because you get the marks like how NXT used to be.
Yes.
Like you get like everyone that's there is amped and like they're jazzed to be there. So fans at WWE/NXT shows, AEW, good job, you're killing it.
What about yours?
Give Bray Wyatt more and more. I feel like every year we start to get a little bit more of this Bray Wyatt fiend showing up a little bit more, even if it's just regular old Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt.
Mhm.
And don't change anything besides his costume if you have to.
Really? You don't like that?
Well, no. I'm saying with this whole burn thing, I don't want them to completely change how he is now because I
was gonna
freaking
ask you
love
about that.
Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt. I like Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt more than I like the Fiend itself.
Word.
So,
Wow.
like
Word.
because I love the idea of this like creepy kids TV show host type thing, and I think that Bray is just absolutely killing it with it. I mean, obviously, I think he should wrestle as the Fiend, but I'm saying like the segments have been incredible.
Yeah.
And bringing in Alexa Bliss, I just feel as though you have something there, and I think eventually he'll be world champion again. But just keep building him up. Give me another Firefly Funhouse match with Randy Orton. I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
And, the career retrospective parts of it, the alternate universe storylines that they did with John Cena.
Yeah, Cena and the NWO.
It's the pre-recorded matches are cheesy. And I know that Chris and I had discussed the opportunity to potentially have a Firefly Funhouse match live. It would be interesting. I don't know how you pull off the costume changes. You're going to have some wizardry there.
Totally possible.
But
what I want to know is how they did the bit like a couple weeks ago where Orton pinned Firefly Funhouse and then lights went out and like 2 seconds later it was Fiend.
Right?
Yeah.
Unless that show is pre-tape, I don't remember.
I didn't hear anything about that.
But it was nuts to see. Bray Wyatt has done some incredible shit. And to your point, Nick, he elevates the people with him.
Yes,
like,
for sure.
Like Alexa Bliss. Like who the like I know people were asking for Liv Morgan to be like Sister Abigail or Liv Morgan to be with Bray Wyatt because I know that was me. I was asking for that. But Alexa Bliss in that role and how they tied in the Nikki Cross stuff, it was dope. I love how they did it. They made it work.
Yeah.
And Bray does that for everyone he works with. I know we're going to get to a guy in a little bit that he really did that with. But he elevates everyone he works with. And like the shit with John Cena earlier this year, if they do the Firefly Funhouse thing at the Royal Rumble with Randy Orton, oh my God. I want to see that. I want to see that shit.
Now that they've pretty much sacrificed him on live TV,
which is dope, by the way.
What's dope?
It's awesome.
What do you think they're gonna do with Bray now? Like, what can they do with him?
I want to say how he comes back is gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
I think it all depends on how they do it. I mean, the thing with Bray Wyatt is like I feel like the man is a workhorse. He reinvents himself when need be.
Yeah, and another guy from good wrestling stock. Let's not forget that.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just like I feel as though there's plenty of opportunities. This is going to be really stupid, but like have Bo Dallas show up as a mailman or something like that at the Firefly Funhouse.
Why like the brought around?
Like
it's a matter of time.
I feel like we haven't seen him in a very long time. I feel like he could be that like happy like mailman that shows up or something like that. Then maybe they have like a tag team or something like that. Yeah. And maybe he's like afraid of the Fiend the entire time. That would be hilarious. WWE, pay me. But like I do want to see Bray Wyatt continue to grow. I think that they went out and said it. He and Alexa Bliss are some of the top faces that they're going to be continuing to book around right now.
Faces, and I love that you said that.
Which is insane.
Faces right now.
They're faces, and like I think that that segment with Alexa Bliss pouring all the gasoline on top.
Oh my God,
that had the Inferno match alone had local sports talk radio people here in Cleveland talking about it on the radio when I happened to be driving home because I forgot something at work. It's like, it blew my mind.
Wow.
Bring more gimmick matches with the Fiend. I think that, more Firefly matches. They don't even have to be the Firefly Funhouse match, though I do want to see another one. I have a feeling, I personally did say that a Firefly Funhouse match every WrestleMania would replace your Undertaker type thing. That's what I said. I know that Chris, you had disagreed with me a little bit there, but it's just there's so many opportunities for Bray Wyatt. We'll see.
And I think Randy Orton's a perfect candidate for the Firefly Funhouse matches. Because a lot of people from his past are still around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially Evolution.
You can utilize Evolution, Edge, Bob, his dad. You can really get crazy with it.
Yeah, but there is one thing though I will disagree with you on. I don't think he needs the title again. I think at this point, the character of Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, has transcended the title.
Yeah.
Word. Yeah.
Yeah. It was great that he had it, and I love that Fiend title from the first time.
It was hard.
Yeah. But I think at this point, he's established himself enough that he doesn't need the title run. Because think about it, up until 2005, how many times did The Undertaker hold the title?
True.
3 in 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing with Bray, he doesn't need it. Could he if there's a lull, give the damn title to the Fiend. And they made him beatable. Oh my god, because that was my biggest fear when the Fiend first showed up. It's this man's unstoppable. No one can hurt him.
Again,
Seth Rollins had to kill him.
Should not have been Goldberg.
Right. But they made the Fiend beatable. Yeah. Granted, you have to either hit him with a sledgehammer, have Goldberg spear him to death, or light him on fire. But still, they made the Fiend beatable, and that to me brought the character down just a little bit in regards to realism, but it didn't hurt the character at its grand scale. Bray Wyatt, putting more of an emphasis on Bray Wyatt as they should. Because that character will transcend wrestling one of these days. People will know what the hell's that? And then bang, it's going to be Bray Wyatt. And I don't know if y'all had any more. I had one more I wanted to mention briefly before we go to our high spot.
Yeah.
Last year, I keep saying this year. Last year, while WWE was awfully questionable with their decisions in regards to coronavirus in the beginning of the pandemic. They got better with quality and containing it because people were still testing positive. The one big negative that came out of WWE last year to me was how they treated their talent. And I'm not saying wrestlers should unionize, even though they probably a good idea that they should. But WWE needs to treat their talent better in general, and I really hope they do so going forward. The Twitch thing and the cameo thing being the big takeaway. Yeah, because it was gross watching that pan out.
Yeah, and here's the ironic thing. They're constantly referring to their wrestlers as independent contractors, but they are not independent contractors.
Nope.
They were truly independent. They'd be able to do things like Cameo. They'd be able to do things like Twitch. That's not the case. Mm-hmm. Call it what it is, guys. These are not independent contractors. Cut that bullshit out. They're your employees.
And now it's getting political to the point where, they're I think Andrew Yang's he's yo, I'm taking you down, motherfucker.
And what's his face, Colbert?
Yeah, John Oliver put it. He's the one.
That's right. It was Oliver, not Colbert.
Yeah, Oliver put it. He was the one that really called out WWE. Yeah. And now Andrew Yang's yo, I'm gonna take you down, Vince. Just wait till this new president gets in the White House. Now I'm coming after you, brother. It's gonna be weird. And I honestly think because Styles, Cesaro, Paige is opposed to, but Paige is rebelling against WWE, which is awesome to see, by the way.
Good, because she's not. You know what? She's not a competitor. She doesn't need them at this point.
But she's still she's on a contract for whatever reason.
Yeah,
and they're not going to let her ass go.
No,
because they know she'll go to AEW and probably fucking wrestle. That's
she's too valuable. Yeah,
and they made that whole ass movie about her. They're not going to let her go.
Yeah,
they're not. So she can do whatever the hell she wants. She has all the leverage in the world. What they're gonna do to her? Release her? That's not the move. But come on, WWE, do better. Do better.
And here's the thing: I'm not I'm going to call a spade. Compared to where they were 20 years ago, they have made a lot of effort and leaps and bounds in terms of how they treat their wrestlers, especially the ones that have, had to go to rehab and stuff. They have done good things, but you're right. It's not enough.
Right.
It's a bummer. And Nick and I, we've talked about it on the show before, but I just wanted to reemphasize that going forward in 2021, because like these wrestlers, especially in the pandemic, like they don't have to travel. They're not doing the whole travel gimmick, and the live shows are live events as we knew them are probably done. So like, just do better. WWE.
Yeah, exactly. There's still way more they can do.
But that being said, we have a high spot, brother, to end the show.
Give Eddie Kingston the AEW title.
Usually it's fun to do these high spots because it's a platform for us to get on our soapbox and to complain, whine, bitch about all the crazy stuff going on in wrestling, or to put a spotlight on something. Like the last one we had, it was about Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair and how they can main event WrestleMania in my eyes. But this week we wanted to talk about John Huber, who tragically passed away the day after Christmas. And Nick and I didn't have a show last week, so we didn't get to properly talk about it. So we wanted to talk about it right here with Soda for a high spot, just because I don't know about you guys, but I had no idea how big of a presence John Huber had backstage, not only at AEW, but with WWE and every other wrestling promotion he was a part of. Like it was like I like Luke Harper a lot. I like Brody Lee was the shit to me with as the leader of the Dark Order. And when he had that dog collar match with Cody like a month or two ago, and he was written off TV.
Dynamite or pay-per-view?
Dynamite. Okay,
that one I definitely want to look that one up.
It's dope. And Brody Lee was gone off TV for a while. Little did we know he was going through it with, as his wife Amanda put it, a non-COVID related lung issue, and it came out of nowhere, and it just rocked the wrestling world. And oh my god, like as much of a bummer as it is, people aren't harping on the sad part of it,
Pun intended or no?
No pun intended. But I bet he would have dug that.
Yeah.
Especially hearing all the stories about him. That's the takeaway. Like they're out here celebrating his life.
Yes. And
talk about Bray Wyatt, dude. Like Luke Harper was one of the guys that Bray elevated without it. Like, although the Wyatt family fizzled out, and the Bludgeon Brothers, people weren't the biggest fan of the guys, or that version of them, myself included. But Luke Harper was always like the shit. Like, and he worked differently than everybody else. He stood out to everybody, like amongst all the other bigger dudes in WWE at the time. And hearing just the little things about him was it was just so heartwarming to hear. And the fact that, like, we talked about this earlier, like AEW's tribute show to him was just phenomenal.
Yeah, the best one yet.
Yeah, and what Brody Lee, Luke Harper, John Huber, however you knew him, like, he was the shit. And he's gone way too soon. 41,
man.
41 years old. And like, just especially after watching that tribute show and his son, and like, oh my god, his son Brody, by the way, which is freaking awesome.
He's awesome.
But my god, I just wanted to chat about Luke Harper for a second. Did you guys have anything to add about our boy Luke, John, Brody, however you knew him?
I'll let Nick go first because it seems like I talk too much.
You're fine, dude. What are you telling? You're telling me that? Like, I talk too much.
I think that we all have that feeling inside. It's man, I remember when Luke Harper. Well, it's crazy that Luke Harper won the Intercontinental Championship when he did, because it was his only singles title reign. Yet I remember when he got injured, he was a bigger dude. He came back in incredible shape. I always thought that he was going to eventually. I always thought that eventually it was going to be him versus Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt for the WWE Championship. I never was like they were going to ever elevate, him to that huge status, but I just always thought that there was something there for him in WWE, and it pissed me off just like it bothered him that he wasn't necessarily being used properly. And I think that his time in AEW is the absolute positive, perfect example of how a workhorse, how a guy who leaves WWE should be treated when they have an unlimited amount of potential. And he reached that what would be considered AEW's mid-card title status.
Sure. Yeah.
But the guy was going to be their world champion eventually. I mean, you don't lead a group called the Dark Order, such a badass group of wrestlers that might have Colt Cabana in it, but still, it's just like such a badass group of wrestlers. An amazing look. They don't even make you shave the damn beard. It's like the guy was in incredible shape. He had amazing matches with Cody Rhodes. Luke Harper was always such an interesting name to me. When I think of Eric Rowan was never that guy that I was going to be like, oh, he's going to eventually be a future world champion. But I'm watching Luke Harper. I'm watching him in that like black tank top and the pants. And I'm just thinking, man, there is something there. Whether it not be another Intercontinental Championship reign, whether the Bludgeon Brothers win the tag team championships about 100 times, talk about a tag team that was split up too soon. It's like, man, or a forgotten title win. They win the tag team championships. I would imagine it was probably the pre-show of WrestleMania, but I just have. It was at WrestleMania, but I don't remember if it was the pre-show or if it was on the main show. I remember they win the titles and nobody cares. It's like, come on. These guys are workhorses. We love the Wyatts here. It's just like, he's a guy that I always wish they did more with in the WWE, and I was damn happy that they were doing a lot more with him in AEW. So that's...
give me a second. I'm just trying to find that tag title win. Nope, it does not say anything about pre-show. It was on the main show.
That? And just but
that was
at
32,
the same time,
right?
34.
Okay.
But what sucks about that win though is that again, I think that it's a forgotten WrestleMania moment.
Yeah. And to piggyback of what you said, for me, the forgotten one is that match against Dolph Ziggler where he won the title. Because honestly, I had forgotten about that, and I went back and rewatched it. Man, you're right. There was so much potential there that WWE failed on. And that happens a lot. But because, like I said, I mostly know him as Luke Harper. But the thing I took away the most was it reminded me a lot of when Owen Hart passed away. Not obviously the circumstances, but just no one has ever said anything bad ever in 21 years about Owen Hart.
Yes.
And that's going to be how John Huber is going to be remembered. From constantly checking in to see how people are doing, if you haven't talked to them in a long time, from buying John Silver replica gear just for a bit, for giving people money to help them out. If they were injured, checking up on them, the pranks that he would used to do. It sounds like he was a very guy who loved to photobomb people.
Yeah.
He was a good dude, and good dudes don't deserve to leave us this young.
Yeah,
they really don't. And I love what AEW is doing for his family. I hope they continue to do it. I think it's really classy on them to retire the original TNT Championship and give it to his son.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's one of the classiest moves I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of classy moves, and the things you're doing with him on AEW After Dark. Did you see the promo he cut the other night?
Yeah.
Pretty cool, man. This kid, you know what?
Yeah.
They signed him. They signed Brody Lee Jr.
It's in his blood. And I hope to God that his legacy will never be forgotten because, man, it's a legacy we should have known about when he was alive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
And that's the bummer, right? Like what I talked about earlier with with Edge when he was still around. I didn't really care till he was gone.
Yeah.
Like I wish I got to know what Luke Harper, Brody Lee, Johnny Huber was like.
Yeah.
Outside of WWE, like everyone came out with all these like Big E and
Big E was the one
and Miro, like both of those guys. Like them, like if you watch that tribute show and in the beginning where they're doing the 10 bell salute, like you can just see Miro in the back just absolutely losing it, and it's just.
And don't forget Xavier Woods, man, on what was it, Raw Talk? Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's God damn it, man. Like it sucks. And I'm exact same boat as you, man. That's how you felt about Edge is exactly how I feel about John Huber. I wish I had appreciated him more when he was with us because could have been so much more. And then now I'm going back and watching like the being the elite stuff. And I loved it. I loved it when they pulled up
hysterical on BT.
Right? I loved it during the tribute match where they pulled out the fucking papers and threw it at him at the opponent. So it's like that, yes.
Like he was, oh my god, he was gonna do some crazy shit in AEW. Like
it's true.
To see him pop up in an Alexa Bliss promo on WWE with what did she say? What did she say? What she said one of his catchphrases that I kept hearing her a lot about in the back.
It was like like the yeah type thing.
Yeah. And then you heard McIntyre do the same thing.
Like, it's my name. You know what that means?
Yeah, and Xavier Woods doing the whole the spinning lariat, and it's just like you can tell that this man impacted a lot of lives, and he had so much more to give to the business, so much more. That's a man who I think would have done very well as a backstage agent.
Yes,
everything I've heard.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Damn.
Yeah, and probably one of my favorite things that AEW did was it was really cool to see them bring out Eric Rowan.
Yeah.
Besides Bray Wyatt, that's the one other person you associate with Luke Harper. If all you know about him is his mainstream stuff.
Yeah, really, and that's how a lot of people were introduced to him through NXT and the main roster. Yeah, and the two of us as well. So it's it was a real bummer, and
2020 just couldn't leave us alone that week, man.
We had, and it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like the day after Christmas, and like, God damn it!
I hope they release what he died from, just for if it is something that you can prevent. Do it so that way you can prevent more people from passing away from how he died. Because I mean, a lung issue, who knows what it was?
Right.
Yeah, and I know, like I believe, Soda, you mentioned it earlier with Eddie Kingston, and the WWE stuff. And people were giving shit to WWE for how they handled Luke Harper or how they handled John's death, right? What
did you want him to do? He wasn't their employee anymore.
Like AEW gave him like a 10 belt thing, and people are like, "Oh, WWE." I'm like all this shit that they've.
That's the one thing I will get back. WWE should have done the salute.
They should have.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna give them shit for it.
No.
Like, and they released this incredible video a couple days ago about it was like Cesaro, Xavier, Kevin Owens, even like it was. And
letting everybody do the tributes to him the way they wanted to do it. Like that, kudos to them. I don't think they could have done any more in this situation because he was not their employee at that anymore.
Right.
And I guarantee like the tributes for John, especially when Bray comes back, when like I want to see, because Bray's going to do something.
They were close.
He'll honor John as John
from that post. They were close.
So my God.
And I will say this: kudos to Lance Archer for coming out dressed up as Luke Harper. I popped for that.
Yes. I did pop for that too.
Yeah.
So I mean, from all of us here at Wrestle Real, all our condolences to the Huber fam and to John. Like we do miss Brody Lee, Luke Harper, John Huber, however you knew him. Just a kick-ass guy.
And guys, just hug your loved ones, man. You never know what's going to be the last time.
Seriously,
especially right now.
Yeah. Like, holy shit. Like, even 2021, like, my God, all the stragglers from 2020 are still coming over, but hopefully we'll end on a positive note. But per usual, Nick, before we officially begin the wrap, did I miss anything?
I think we're good, man. That John Huber stuff just...
Yeah.
It's some real shit.
For
But
me, it's disappointing that it took his death for me to finally get my ass in gear and watch Dynamite.
no, and I mean, like he was a man of the business, dude.
Mhm.
Like, and the fact that they did such a kick-ass tribute show, like oh my god,
One of the
just
things I
great
picked up
time.
the most, it was never said, but watching people that were close to him talk, and they're ones that are becoming new fathers, it sounds like they're going to miss having him around to ask questions about balancing family and wrestling.
Right.
Because it sounds like he did it good.
And Kofi brought that to, like, Kofi Kingston did his own thing on Raw Talk as well.
Yeah.
Talking about John and like how they would always, how their kids were like the New Day kids. I believe that's how Kofi worded it. And like they were buds and they bonded over their families. And like, it's some real shit. Cause that's what people are telling. That's what the wrestlers are telling us to take away. Like, yeah, you knew the wrestler, but he was an even better father. He was
And
an
a
even
better
better
person,
husband. Yeah, he was a better dude. So
did you see the video that came out, I want to say 2 nights ago, of Brody Lee Jr. Rolling around with Liv Morgan at Tyson Kidd and Natalia's gym? I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. And oh my, like, and again, talking about earlier, like the integration between the two companies, like, although they didn't officially recognize one another, although AEW did some WWE stuff,
and you saw WWE wrestlers in the tribute and stuff,
yeah, and like it's bigger than wrestling. There's just some shit that's bigger than wrestling, and John's passing is Exhibit A. Like it's bigger than any storyline, any title, anything.
Like I said, it's very reminiscent of when Owen Hart passed away. Very reminiscent.
Like, just
fuck.
But like what you said, Soda, like, hug your loved ones. Seriously.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
But thank you so much for listening and watching Wrestle Reel. We really appreciate it. Soda, thanks, homie, for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having. I can't believe we've been doing this for over 2 hours.
2 hours, brother.
It seems like every show I guest on, it's usually the longest one they've ever done.
I think we've done a longer Wrestle. We have done a longer Wrestle Reel. I want to say
is that
so.
a challenge? No, I'm kidding.
Next time. But tell the people where they can find you on social media, on YouTube, even. Just give us all the plugs, brother.
Okay, so you're gonna have to give me a minute of this, but guys, thank you very much for having me on. It is awesome to talk to wrestling because, like I said, I never get to do this, so this was very cathartic for me in a way.
You'll be back.
You'll
be back.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. I would definitely love to be back. So you can find me over on my personal Instagram and Twitter, soda_the_sax man. Because I'm a sax player. I've been playing since I was 11, so over 20 years. You can also find me over on one of my first YouTube channel, which is Schmoes of the North, which is how I met Chris, where we do Schmodown Night in Canada, which is our weekly breakdown of the what's going on in the Schmodown. That's where Chris and Matt have appeared before, and I still say it's one of the best episodes we've ever done. I was producing in the back, so I can say that. And also Northern Consultations, where we sit down and we talk to you Schmodown personalities, be it in front of the camera, behind the camera, get to know them a little bit. We just recently had on The Rager, which was a lot of fun. And before that, we had on Jeff Snyder just after Spectacular. And I think we were the first people that he broke down round 4 to.
So, y'all did tell me about that.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then you can find me over on my other YouTube channel, Get Sweaty. That's the show, Media Sweaty's Network, where I'm on several shows on that one. Get Sweaty is the flagship show where we do kind of like our top 5 format. Every week is a different thing. I'm also on Recapping the Past, which after I'm done with this, I'm going to hop onto that stream. Where we review shows from mine and Ben Rayner's past, and we talk about them. So right now we're doing Saved by the Bell, which I'm so glad we're almost done. Not because I don't like the show, just because the release order of that show is crap on every platform you watch it. And then next is going to be How I Met Your Mother. And then we've also do another show called Shooting the Breeze, where me and Ben, we just sit down and we have friends of ours on from around the web, and we just shoot the shit for an hour. And actually, tomorrow night, this is Wednesday when we're doing this, tomorrow night we're having Matt on. Matt's going to be our guest.
Word, that's some real shit.
Yeah, so that's where you can find me. And sorry, that was a little long-winded. I got a lot to plug.
No. I mean, this is like we're all about a good plug ski here at Who Are They Real Entertainment. But again, Soda, thank you so much for joining us. I really do.
My pleasure.
It.
Yeah, thank you,
Nick. Per usual, it's a blast doing this show. 2021, the year Wrestle Reel, brother. I'm calling it right now.
2021 Wrestle Reel, everybody. With that, my name is Nick Molbach. This is Soda.
I was like, who just followed me on Instagram?
It was me. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. And thank you, everybody. I hear the name. I played the game. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for another Wrestle Reel.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.